So good afternoon and welcome to all of you that have joined us today. My name is Bernita Platt, and I am a business consultant with the Myrtle Beach Area Small Business Development Center. Today, we have Ms. Angela Brewer here with us, and she is a business opportunity specialist. Did I get that right, Angela?
Yes.
SBA. And today she's going to walk you through doing business with the government. This is a 4-part series, and in subsequent weeks, we'll talk about 8A business development programs, women-owned certification, as well as service disabled veteran and HUBZone certifications as well. So we hope that you're able to join us for the following 3 sections. Just to give you a brief overview of who we are with the SBDC, we are an SBA resource partner, which means we work directly with the SBA. We're sort of their boots on the ground in local areas. At the SBDC, we provide no-cost confidential consulting services to new and existing small business owners. We also offer a number of educational programs, trainings, and webinars, much like we're doing today. And then we also have access to lots of resources throughout the state of South Carolina to help you start and grow a successful business. If we can be of assistance, you can find our website, which is www.scsbdc.com. If there's anything that we can do for you, ask us, we can help. We're happy to schedule one-on-one consultations with you to talk about how we can take your business to the next level. And without further ado, I am going to turn it over to you, Ms. Brewer, and we're going to talk about doing business with the government today.
Thank you so much. As she stated, my name is Angela Brewer, and I am a business opportunity specialist with the South Carolina District Office of SBA. Today, we're going to talk about doing business with the federal government. If you all know or don't know, in order to do business with the federal government, work with Fort Jackson, Shaw Air Force Base, Joint Base Charleston, USDA, Department of Justice, anyone that's in the federal government, you must be registered in SAM, System for Award Management. And in order to register in SAM, you must have a few things to get started. So we're going to talk about SAM. I'm pulling up now. Can you all see the presentation, the PDF file that I have online right now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. In order to register in SAM, System for Award Management, you're going to need a few things in order to get started. The first thing you're going to need is a DUNS and Bradstreet number. I'm going to send this PDF file to Ms. Bernita, and she's going to send it out to you all who are here today. So the only thing, if you are not registered in SAM now, the only thing you need to do is just click on the hyperlink if mine's come up. I'm waiting on mine to come up. It's slowly coming up, never does. Okay, here we go. If you need a DUNS number, a DUNS and Bradstreet number, this is everything, all the services that I'm talking about today is free. That's why when I send out this link and you click on it, make sure you click on it, because if you Google, there's a possibility you might reach a link that asks you to pay a price or enter your credit card information. If that link asks you for any place you go, when you finish, ask you for a credit card information, you just exit out and go to Duns and Bradstreet. Duns and Bradstreet is the only website the SBA uses that does not have a .gov. Everything else has a .gov domain. So in order to get a DUNS number, you just click on the top button, request a DUNS number. You're in the United States, you have to be a US citizen. And it asks you about your business. Put in the business information, and it's going to take you through the steps to register business. One thing I must tell you, a couple of things I must tell you. When you first get to this part and you put your business name, your phone number, your email address in there, you will get notifications or emails or possibly a phone call telling you that they have been assigned as your counselor. For some reason, or not for some reason, someone has made it a business to, whenever someone put their phone number or their email address into this system, it alert this company, and they will reach out to you telling that they have been assigned your counselor. It's okay if you decide to use them, but I always tell people, you're going to have to give them all the information anyway. The same information that you're giving them, you could do it yourself. It's going to take you the same amount of time for them to input it, because it's not like they have your information. You can do it yourself. And another thing I want you to know, however, if you have a business license with the Secretary of State or with the city or county that you're located in, make sure you use it the same way. So for instance, I'm going to say my business is ABC and Company. If this how you have it on your business license, make sure in Duns and Bradstreet, you put it the same way. If you have the and sign, and spelled out versus the ampersand, make sure you do it the same way, because Duns and Bradstreet takes about 24 to 48 hours to give you a DUNS number. It's a 9-digit code that your business is registered under. Because a lot of people was like, I don't have a business, my business don't have a what is it called? Because your personal, like you have your personal account, your business don't have an identification. I say that's what the word, I can't think of what I'm trying to say. But this is how you register your business, so your business can have an actual identity. And this is how the federal government track you through that your DUNS number. So if you're trying to set up a business account or go out and get a bank or get a business loan for your bank, if you have a DUNS number, the bank can track your DUNS number versus looking at your personal information. If you don't have a DUNS number, that means when you apply for a business loan, which you have to do your personal taxes anyway, the bank is going to track your personal versus looking at your business. They, if they have your business, they look more at your business versus your personal, because you're going after a business loan. But if you don't have your business set up in Duns and Bradstreet, they have to track your personal. So however you set it up on your license in the IRS, make sure you do the same for Duns and the same in SAM, because they all talk to each other. I know a lady called me the other day. She left out the word the, THE, in her when she was doing I think she was doing Duns, or when she went to SAM and tried to register in SAM, and the system didn't even know who she was. It didn't identify her because she had the, so she had to take the word the out of her title and change everything around, because she had already, because now she has the at the end. So it's whatever the name of her company, the at the end. So make sure however you do it in one, you make it the same in all. If you capitalize everything, like right here, I have company. If you're just going to do CO, or you have CO, make sure it's the same thing, because the federal government is not going to recognize if you don't. So now that we got our DUNS number, we're going to talk about tax ID. I just stated, a lot of people who are sole proprietor, you don't have a tax ID number. But when you're working with the federal government, they require you to have a tax ID number, because you have to pay taxes on your business. And this is where you go to apply for a tax ID number, and it is free. So keep that in mind when you clicking or you go on irs.gov. It's a free application, and they will assign you a tax ID number. So now that we have our tax ID number, we have our DUNS number. The last thing to do, you'll have to do a notarized letter. I'll make sure I get that letter to Bernita also. There's a notarized letter that you must hand sign and send to SAM help desk. They give you 30 days to get that done in order for your SAM to actually stay active, because after 7 to 10 days after they verify all the information, your SAM will be active. 30 days from the day that they activate your account, if you have not gotten that letter to them, they're going to make you inactive. So if you're looking at federal contracts or trying to do work with the federal government, if they deactivate your account or make your account inactive, you no longer can work with the federal government until you get that to them. Notarized letter. So now we've done everything that we've gotten everything together that we need. The next thing we need to do is get a NAICS code. Any questions so far? I'm sorry, my dog is saying hi. NAICS code is a North American Industry Classification Code. It determines what industry you're in. What's this one I have up? There are 1,000 of NAICS codes out there, so I don't know them all by heart, but I do know some. This one is other service building and dwelling. This is dealing with construction. So if you are in the construction industry, if these are some of the things that you do, and I always tell people, because I Google when when I'm looking for trying to determine someone, always when people call asking me to help them determine what their NAICS code is, I Google, but you don't have to Google. You can put in drywall. It gives you a listing of drywall contractors, drywall finishing. You can put those are all basically the same, but then they have another one, drywall for board merchant wholesaler. So if you are a wholesaler or you are a manufacturer, you would use these two NAICS code. But if you are in construction and you do drywall for a construction company, or you are a construction company that you have someone in your business, because a lot of times when a large construction company or a company who is growing get a contract, they outsource a subcontract the work. And so drywall may not be one of the industries, one of the jobs they have in their business, so they have to outsource a subcontract drywall. And this is the NAICS code you would use for that. You can just click on the hyperlink and it actually tells you what it does. Any questions so far on determining their NAICS code or SAM, registered in SAM? Because we're going to get back, because we're going to go to SAM in just a few minutes. But anyone have any questions so far on registering, what it takes to register in SAM, or are you already registered in SAM? Am I being redundant?
We don't have anything in the chat box so far.
Thank you. I'm trying to get there. Okay, SAM, System for Award Management. In order to get in SAM, you're going to need a login and password in order to get in SAM. I have used my government ID, so I don't have a login and password, and that also means I have a separate view than what you all see. I've had a lot of people to tell me going to SAM or trying to register in SAM could be a beast. It is, but that's why we're here. We can, if you're having trouble registering in SAM, you can always reach out to our office or reach out to me, and I can help you walk through some of the areas. I left my water on the kitchen counter. I'm still working from home. Please forgive me. You can log in. Once you log in, it's going to have an area. Let me see, sign out. Get started. You need a login and password. Like I tell you, you don't have, if you already have a DUNS number, you don't have to request a DUNS. You can just go to the next one. Prepare your data. Get a login account. And then once you get a login account, it's going to take you step by step in order to know. You have to go through it. Some people say it takes them 2 to 3 hours to do SAM. SAM can be kind of daunting. It can be a process because you have to put in a lot of information. But like I said, you're going to need, the first thing you're going to need is a DUNS number. And once you put your DUNS number, it's going to pull all your information that you put in DUNS over there to SAM. SAM takes, it's actually allowed to 4 business days. That means Saturday and Sunday does not count. So it allows up to 10 business days in order for you to get approved for SAM. The first thing is going to tell you, once you finish going through all the pages and doing SAM, you're going to get an email. The first email is going to tell you, thank you for registering in SAM. Up to 7 to 10 business days, you get another email. If everything works out, all the information that you put in the system matches, it's going to tell you, congratulations, you have successfully registered in SAM. At that point, you can start looking for opportunities on the federal government side. On the federal government side, anything over $25,000 will be registered in SAM. 238-310. This is drywall. These are, why would they give me people who already have this? These are people who have done opportunities in this next, let me put it right here, 238-310. Still go back to that. Contracting opportunities. If you are looking for, depending on what your next code is, this might not be you, because I know I've done a class and someone asked about this particular next code. It's going to give you a listing of all the next code that fall, all the opportunities that have fallen under that particular next code, but you have to do the most relevant, updated ones. That means the ones that came out recently. So if you have this particular next code, which is 484110, general freight trucker. So if you're a trucker, a truck driver that does general freight, this is an opportunity for you. You look at the date it was published, which was October 21st, and this particular opportunity closes on November the 6th, which means that's Saturday. You have 3 days in order to, yeah, today is the 3rd. You have 3 days in order to apply for this opportunity, but you must look. This is in California, in Los Angeles. So if you don't have the resources to go to California, this may not be an opportunity that you want to express interest in. They're asking for, this is not a source of salt. This is actual solicitation. Okay. This is not a source of salt. It's not set aside for anyone. That's anyone who's registered in the SAM system. If you have this particular next code, you can go after this opportunities. Those of you who are on, I think we have like 3 or 4 people on. Have you all ever gone into the FBO site and looked for opportunities? Have you had problems looking for opportunities? Is there anything I can assist you with while I'm here, since we have such a small group today? You all can unmute yourself. Do they have the option to unmute themselves, Sarah?
Yes, they do.
So I guess they're just quiet today.
I have a question, and you may hit on this later if you have a minute.
Yes, sir.
How is it to, is there a way for me to search opportunities that I would be able to be competitive in? Because I've had companies contact, because we're signed up on the SAM website, but we've had companies contact us promising that they can find us opportunities. And of course you pay them money, and then I've seen opportunities that they think that they'll present, but they're not the type of equipment or the type of opportunities that we can be competitive. So how can I go in and find search for the type of opportunities that we would be competitive with?
What is your NAICS code?
Let me look that up. We are a air charter company. So obviously some of the opportunities out there, we don't have the proper type of aircraft that they're looking for.
So have you ever tried subcontracting?
I have not yet, no.
Because
that may be an
sometimes,
opportunity also.
like the drywall that I first talked about, there may not be any, or there may be very few opportunities for a drywaller, for just someone just to do a drywall, unless you just subcontracting. So it's a possibility that what you're talking about, what you're looking for, may be a subcontract. Like you said, you don't have the equipment for the actual job that you're applying, and they're saying you can, but you can be a subcontractor. SBA has a subcontracting.
And I do have the NAICS code for non-scheduled chartered passenger air transportation.
Yeah, so we also do cargo, so I think there's a different one for that. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I was trying to look that up. I apologize that I didn't have it, but if you have that.
It's 481211.
Okay, give me just come on, go back up so I can get on that. Trying to make this go back up so I can click on what I need to click on. You said 48121.
Yep.
This was published today. And you have to December the 6th to actually do a bid on it, because this is not set aside. So there is actual open bid. This is in Boise, Idaho. Can you all still see my screen? I have a Word document up.
Yes.
Okay. Requirements. So I don't really click on it. Gary, you're bringing my water off the kitchen counter. Sir, can you see this right here?
Yes.
It's a seating payload power plants. So have you ever looked at, this is called a statement of work. This is what tells you the job description, what is required. So you've looked through this, and none of this is what, see, the target requirement for the helicopter. You don't have a helicopter, right? You have an actual aircraft. I mean, a plane. Mr. Langford?
We don't have helicopters, and that's what it looks like they're requiring. So I know some of them are type of aircraft, but
Aircraft for pricing, estimate flight. And this is what you've been coming in contact with, coming across, finding opportunities for something that you can't do.
right, yes.
Let me see how I can narrow it down in USA spending. USA spending, we have two websites where the federal government posts all awards. We have USA spending and we have FPDS, Federal Procurement Data System. If there's ever a chance or opportunity, let me see if I can find, whenever they award an opportunity, they always post it in USA spending and on FPDS.
Well, what was the second one? F what?
FPDS, Federal Procurement Data System. So when you're looking for opportunities, or well, when you're looking for opportunities to see what they have awarded in the past, this is where you come. See, this one was awarded. Let's look at this one right here. Let me see if I can find this in SAM so we can look at a statement of works. Because I always tell applicants when I'm talking to them or talk to clients, look and see what was awarded, because if they awarded it before, and you, because you can get the I need to look at this in SAM. You have to go back to Sam because anything that's previously awarded would be in Sam. Come on. Come on, I need to find this opportunity. Let me see if I can search it. Sometimes it's tricky. Let me see if I can find an FPDS. How the contracting officer put it into FPDS and in. They don't have anything in there, okay. I'm trying to find the actual contract number so I can find it in FPDS and it's not giving it to me. Let me go back to the original. I know sometimes it can get frustrating. The award ID. That's the contract number. Let me try the whole thing. Oh, I see your pain right now, sir.
Right. And I don't want to take all your time. I appreciate you showing me this, but if other people have questions too, feel free to.
Sarah, have anyone else put any questions in the chat?
We don't have anything so far.
Because this is the last part of what I'm going over will be finding opportunities. Because once you register, because next week we'll talk about the SBA for preferential programs. Today I was just going to help you all, if you don't have NAICS code, help you search or find your NAICS code and show you how to search for opportunities. And sir, I'm going to put a slide up in just a few minutes that has my contact information on it. And you can call me tomorrow and we can go do one-on-one. We can set up an appointment or send me an email and I will send you a team invite and we can do one-on-one because I need to, I know I can find it, but I'm trying to find the actual contract number. Let's try this one. I knew that was, I don't know why the other one's not coming up. Let me try it in Sam. I watch they make me put commas and all that in there. I knew they was going to make me do it. How is it figured out? Sure. They want me to put the dashes everywhere. one who did the award, and you can reach out to that contracting officer and see if they plan on making, like this one right here, this award ended, tells you at the top. This award will end August of 2022. So there was a 3-year IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. This was an IDIQ, which a lot of contractors are looking for. This is a 3-year for sure contract. You may not get opportunities during that 3-year, but it's a 3-year contract. And this contract is in Georgia. This firm is out of Georgia. So it's the State Department that offered this contract. Non-scheduled charter passenger. Let me see, how can I find this contract? I need to find this contract in SAM, but we can get together tomorrow or next week, sir, if you have, but I know it's supposed to be some dashes in here to separate the numbers. This right here was for support of professional and emergency response. This may possibly be something that you could have done. What was the NAICS code for this one? $481,211. That's the same one I put in. It doesn't, you have to look at the statement of work in order to, it was awarded when? It was awarded, initial award was 2019. So let's see. But you can, let's do it by, that was Georgia, set aside place of performance, state, Georgia. Is there anyone else that have questions? Because it's like I'm going off on a tangent now. On looking for opportunities. Mr. Tim, like I said, I'm gonna share. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we see the SBA. Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Okay. Today we went over registering in SAM. Anyone have questions that is not registered in SAM? Anyone have questions about SAM, getting their DUNS number, getting their tax ID number, EIN? Next week, we're going to start going into the 4 preferential programs, why the federal government is federal contracting is right for you, because not all services or industry, as we were talking to Mr. Langford, found out that the federal government buys and sells what your industry is. So you just have to narrow it down, and you have to actually pay attention to the statement of works in order to be able to say, or in order to determine if the federal government or the federal system is actually what you do. Mr. Langford, do you have multiple NAICS codes? Is that the only NAICS code that you have?
We have this one and the other one, which is cargo also, because we do passengers and cargo. So there is a separate NAICS code for on-demand,
So you do
passengers and cargo.
So you do flights for what you have, like a small 2-seater or 8-seater plane that you carry passenger?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
So you don't carry goods. So if, like, I know when they were trying to get things down, because I think Louisiana just had another storm, or Texas just had another storm, you just carry passengers, you don't carry goods, right? Or products.
No, we do have specific aircraft that are cargo only also. So that's why for me, the opportunity is probably more available for cargo trips rather than passenger. What I aircraft that we don't have yet, but if I can see what type of aircraft that I need, that I can work towards that to acquire the type of equipment that will make me marketable.
When you said you do cargo, I went
Yes.
back into the system to find another NAICS code. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
So looking at this description, does this charter air flight or air cargo except for air couriers, non-scheduled air flights, is this something that you also do?
That would be the one, yes. Unscheduled, non-scheduled is what we would do. So yes,
So-
that first one, the second one also.
Yeah, they all fall under the same NAICS code. So do you have this particular NAICS code?
Transportation.
What was that?
No, I'm saying,
I don't know if it's my computer or yours, but you're breaking up. Are you still talking?
I'm not hearing him either, Angela.
Okay. But let's see what opportunities out there for 482-1212.
Angela, while you're doing that, a lot of our clients have questions about preparing to do business with the government, some of which you already touched on. But a lot of them don't know when they're ready, what they need to do to get ready, not just registering in the systems, but making sure that they're capable and they're prepared to do business with the government. Could you touch on that just a bit?
I sure can. In order to know that you're ready, we actually have a slide on that. Let me pull up my in order to actually know that you're ready to do business with the federal government, you have to have resources, because with the federal government or with the federal procurement system, federal government, when you're applying for or going after an offer, a solicitation, or getting an award, you do not get paid up front. So if you have, I always encourage people, because I know here in Columbia, because we're located in Columbia, work with your local city and county government first. I'm trying to find the presentation. Work with your local government first. If you can work with your local government and navigate the local government contracting system, here's what SBA headquarters came up with. Can you all see this actual?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Does the government buy products and services that you buy? That's why I always take clients to USA Spending or FPDS, because trying to determine if your service is good and service, like I was talking to Mr. Langford, trying to find out if the federal government buy what you sell, you need to go to USA Spending or go to FPDS and put your NAICS code in and see if anything has ever come up under that particular NAICS code. And I always tell them to go over the last 5 years and see what the federal government bought in your particular NAICS code in the last 5 years. If the federal government is not buying what you're selling, you can even go back 10. I think it allows you to go back 10. If the federal government has not bought an opportunity or bought anything from your industry, at that point, you could try and get a one-on-one, what we call a capability brief with a contracting officer. So if you're here, we have Fort Jackson here. Fort Jackson is a training post. They do a lot of training. So they have done a lot of construction over the years, but mostly they do training the soldiers. Fort Jackson, it used to be, when I was in the military, used to be the largest training post in the United States. but I think they still in the top 2 or the top 5 as one of the largest training posts in the United States. Find out what agency is buying what. Shaw Air Force Base, self-explanatory. They do a lot of if you have planes, that may be something Mr. Langford want to look into, but they have a fighter plane. You need to find that they do construction, because we have a listing of the contracting officer and we know when they come to what we have every year called the Salute the Small Business. They tell us what they're coming there to buy. They're looking for construction. They're looking for someone that does training. So after you look on USA Spending, the fpds.gov, and you see that they have not bought, no one has not bought what it is that you sell, at that point you can get, I'm going to also send you, Benita, we have a listing of the contracting officer that we deal with here in South Carolina. So you can send it out to them so they can try and do a capability brief, but you have to be registered in SAM in order to work with the federal government. We have some local and county government on it also. And I know not all city and counties have a contracting program, but a lot of them do. Like I know Charleston does. I know the city of Columbia and Richland County does. So you just have, I think Sumter County is on there. So if you're in Sumter, so after you find out the federal government is buying what you're selling, are you capable of fulfilling the contract? So say for instance, you go out on Fort Jackson or Shaw or Joint Base Charleston to do a capability brief, and they offer you an opportunity for say $50,000. They're not going to give you the $50,000 up front. They're not going to give it to you the first go round. So if they tell you, say November the 15th, you get this award, you get awarded this contract, that means you start working. Do you have the capabilities, or do you have the necessary resources to start that job? Let's say construction, they want you, because I know right now I have a firm, an 8A firm, who has a opportunity, who's doing a contract right now on McEntire Air National Guard Base. And that contract was for, I think it was $3.4 million. But he has to do, he has to get his bonding. Bonding is an insurance that construction company have to do. So if you in construction, you have to do bonding. They allow you 10 days after you sign that contract to show them that you have a bonding up to $4 million for that particular contract, because that contract was $3.4 million. So you have to have enough bonding to cover that contract. So if anything happen or go wrong, they go after the bonding company. So once you do that, you get your bonding, you have the resources, you start working. Do you have he has to, the company, I don't know who he outsourced or subcontract his work to. Do you have the capabilities to do it? Do you have any subcontractor in your portfolio that you can call on when you get these opportunities that you can't do? Like I said, drywall, you can do the frame. Or do you have, when construction, because I deal with construction companies a lot, do you have some in your company, do you have someone who can do HVAC or the plumbing or the electricity? So when you start this opportunity, you're going to say, okay, they're going to allow you 3 weeks to do the framework or the lay the foundation. I'm not in construction, so I don't know how. Get out of my camera. I'm sorry, my son is in my camera. Do you have the resources to do the framework, or the first thing, I don't know, the first thing I guess you lay plumbing or you lay the foundation, whatever it takes to do the first. They're going to allow you a couple of weeks. You have to allow for time for rain and weather. So do you have the tools or everything you need? So at that point, number 2, you done found out, are you capable of fulfilling a government contract? Confirm the answer. This is when you start working with the contracting officer. You confirm, yes, I can do all this. You start work. Are you credit worthy? If you don't have the actual services, or actual equipment to go out there and start the job today, do you have access to get capital? You don't actually have to get a check, but you want to have what you call credit, or you want to have a line of credit so you can walk into a bank and get the necessary funding you're going to need, because you're going to be able to pay your subcontractors. You're going to be able, because they're not going to wait till you build Fort Jackson or McEntire Air Force Base and pay them. You will have to pay them either weekly or bi-weekly that you set up in your contract for them to do. So if you pay them weekly, do you have access to enough money to pay them? Because sometimes once you do your first part, or you do you say that I'm going to have this done in 14 days. At the end of that 14 days, they come out and inspect, make sure that you have everything done that you're supposed to do. Then it may take another 14 to 30 days for you to get payment for that first 14 days. So that's still 45 days have gone by. Do you have enough capital for 45 days, or do you have access to a line of credit in order to get capital, in order to pay, continue to get the products that, because after those first 14 days, you still have, okay, it's going to take you what, another week or 2 weeks to after you done laid the plumbing or laid the pipes and set the foundation. The foundation have to set, it takes what, about 2 or 3 days for the foundation to set. So now you got to lay the structure of the building. How long is it going to take you to do the structure? Do you have the equipment? So make sure you have all that in your plan of action. Now you're looking at your accounting system, you're looking at your finances, you adding everything up, making sure that you have all the resources to to do what this project is set to do. Then you're looking at the cash on hand. Don't go after $1 million contract when you only have $5,000 in the bank and your credit score is 550, because SBA requires that you have a credit score at least 575 in order to, a minimum of 575 in order to get a SBA loan. So make sure you look at that. Do you already have local, federal, local, state government? I tell people all the time, because they always want to get $1 million contract. Have you ever done the work? I'm not going to give you $1 million contract if you've never done any work at all. So they're going to look at your past performances. They want, that's why I always tell people to make sure they have their capability brief or the capability statement updated, because they want to look at your past performance. If you don't know me, you only met me today. If I come up to you and tell you I can do this for $50,000, are you just going to take my word? No, you want to look at what I've done in the past. Have I done this before? So that's the same thing with local and federal government. A lot of people say, well, I don't have any federal government past performance. That's fine. You can't start, you have to start somewhere. You can't start with federal government all the time. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So they will take into consideration, or they'll look at your state and local government, or county and city and county government work, and look what you have even on the private sector and see what you have done, that you have done something equivalent to that. And they take that into consideration when they're looking at you doing federal work. If you've never done anything, if you've been a fry cook all your life, and then today you want to up and become a construction worker, or you want to up and become own your own construction company because you have the money, but you have no experience. And then you go and try to get $1 million contract. You can go and try to get a $25,000 contract, but you've never done the work. No one is going to give you the opportunity. That's why I always tell people to make sure they have their past performances or their past experience updated. Do you know where to find contracting opportunities? Yes, you do, because I just showed you how to go look for opportunities. Not a good way, but I showed you how to find it. We weren't successful with Mr. Langford, but I did show you how to find it. Do you know how, do you have your DUNS number, your NAICS code, which is your industry, have you registered in SAM? The first thing the federal government is going to do when you go to them, or you try, and when you do a solicitation, or you express interest in a solicitation, they're going to look at your SAM, make sure your SAM profile is active. If your SAM profile is not active, they're going to move on to the next one. Benita, I hope that answered your question. I know I went all the way around the world, but that's what we look at. That's what the federal government look at when they're taking in consideration, is trying to figure out, well, that's what you should look at when you take into consideration when you're trying to either do local, federal, or state contracting.
Yes, ma'am, it did. Thank you for that.
I will send you this presentation, because this is what we hand out when we're talking to contractors who've never done any type of, have never gone after a contract. You need to make sure that you're prepared, because like I stated, the federal government sometimes, every now and then, but it has to be in the contract, they start you off up front. They give you funding up front, but 9 times out of 10, you have to build after you start doing the work. And like I said, you have to have a schedule. If they give you a year to do something, they're not going to pay you at the end of the year. You're not going to build at the end of the year. You're going to build after you do a section of, so if they give you, I always talk about construction because I halfway know about construction. If they give you a project, they need you to redo something. When you get the first leg of that project done, you build for that first leg of that project. But I always encourage you to have enough, at least 6 months of line of credit or money funding in order to fund you for at least 6 months. Because like I said, if you're not doing the entire thing yourself, which I hope you're not, because you're gonna need some when you're doing construction, you're gonna need some help. Make sure you have enough funding to pay the payroll, because if you're not paying your payroll and subcontractors, your employees start complaining, that could be an issue, because they write the federal government has what is called what is it called? I want to say SIPR, but it's not SIPR, it's the NIPR. And that's a report card. They record everything that you did, whether you performed on time, whether you did the job that you were supposed to do, were you paying your employees, were you paying your subcontractors, and all that goes into that system. So when the other contracting officer is looking at possibly giving you a chance of doing a contract with them, they look in there first to make sure to see if you have any past performances and how you did on your last job. Any questions, any more questions? I know I went over a lot of information. I broke down a lot of things, but I am here to answer questions for you as best as I can. No more questions?
I did put information for the next 3 installments in this series in the chat box. So we hope that you're able to join us next week, which is November 10th, for a discussion on 8A business development certification. The following week, November 17th, for women-owned certification, and then rounding out on December 1st for a discussion on HUBZone, veteran and service disabled certifications. If you do have additional questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'll also put my email in the chat box. And you'll also have Ms. Brewer's contact information when I send out the resources that she will provide for those of you that attended today. After today's event, you will receive a brief survey. If you could, please take a minute or two to complete that survey, give us your feedback, and we hope to see each of you next week and the following 2 weeks for the remainder of this series. Ms. Brewer, do you have anything additional you'd like to share with our participants today?
No, I think I've talked enough for today.
Well, thank you so much all for your time. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you next week.